My name is Linda Sinclair, and I am a member of South Sub Church, and I volunteer 2 days a week, talking to people on the phone and hearing their story and just trying to share the love of Christ and just make them feel supported and that they're not walking whatever journey they're on alone.
My name is Cynthia Dillon, and I'm a member at Mission Hills Church. I got involved with Love Inc. in the Impact program as a discussion group leader for Affirming Potential, and I've also been able to facilitate both Overcome and Successful Living. I was looking for a place to serve in the community, and I was intrigued by all of the churches that were coming together. They were there because they love Jesus and they love others, and we all wanted to be a part of what God was doing to transform Littleton.
My name is Rick Duda, and I'm a parishioner at St. Thomas More Parish in Centennial, and I've been a volunteer at Love Inc. for the past 2 years. I simply needed a place to donate some personal items, some furniture, and a very good friend of mine, Pastor Craig Thigh, suggested Love Inc. and Renewed Treasures. And 2 years later, I've been volunteering at their furniture ministry and spending a lot of time at the warehouse here.
I'm Fran West from St. Luke's United Methodist Church, and I joined the Renewed Treasures group over a decade ago, beginning with a bunch of garage sales, and finally when we were open, that's when we noticed a lot of miraculous stories happen.
I have such an opportunity and get to be on such sacred ground when you meet somebody where they're at and listen to their story and they share their heart with you, and you are able to share with them how much God loves them, how important they are to God, and to pray with them. That's holy ground. I remember talking to one of our neighbors in need who called in for assistance, and I had the privilege of hearing his story, and the following week he had listed his mom as one of his references. And I called her, and when I told her who I was and that I was with Love Inc. Littleton, she started crying, and it's gonna make me tear up. She started crying and said, "Oh my gosh, you prayed with my son. He called and talked to me about that."
It's hard to be serving an individual without somehow deeply connecting with them. A blind woman that we had delivered to, who had experienced such tragedy in her life, was exuding such joy, and a woman with her son who had had a very difficult past, and by the end of that delivery were holding hands and praying for each other. To be able to connect with people that way and learn from them. These individuals who are by a lot of people tucked into the corner and characterized as possibly a lower echelon of society, realize that we're not all so different.
Sometimes I wonder, especially in the beginning, how are we going to connect? What's God going to do with this? And then on my drive home, I get to stop and look and say, wow, God, those two people from different walks of life, different phases in their life, connected on this one thing, and it's nothing I could have done, but I get to see God work.
We have little stories when we find, they come in looking for something and we find it immediately. It was the end of the day, on the last day we were open for Christmas that year. A young man coming in with his family. The family was weary and the kids were a little edgy, and I went and got the preschooler. We picked out, and I'm sure it was divinely guided, a book that we sat down and started to read. And he cuddled up a little closer, and then the preteen and the teenagers joined us. And I asked the child, I said, "Did you like the story?" And they all said, "Yes." I said, "Well, go over to the Christmas basket and get a couple more books." And then he said, "I want that book." So they took it, and I have to tear up a little, that's the book they wanted to go home and read it again and again. It's a wonderful place to work. The friendships are like, they're beyond friendship, they're family.
I love that when I come into the Connection Center, we do devotions in the morning, and I cannot tell you how much I look forward to that. Just the friendships I've made and the community of believers who are like-minded. We all just want to love on people and just demonstrate Christ's love for us through whatever actions we can do to help people.
Overcome is our mental wellness course. And I will tell you, in that class, we get to be vulnerable. And I think one of God's greatest gifts are people that He puts around us. And I was in that class with people from the community, and they had stories, and I had stories. He transforms all of us that walk through the door, leaders and participants, and we have conversations full of truth and of grace, and I get to learn just as much as everybody else.
Furnishing Hope really facilitates a level of interaction and probably inadvertently creates a men's ministry that's well and above anything that I've been involved in the past. I volunteer about half the time with my son, and being able to engage with my son and introducing him to what it is to serve. And my monthly delivery partner, Dave, has just been fantastic. So in addition to my son and the unique experiences with the clients themselves and providing something useful, there's other deep connections that are made through the volunteer ministry at Love Inc.